Hi, I'm Annie Smith, an iQuilt instructor. Whenever you're working on a quilt that's very heavily piecing centric, accuracy in your measurements and cutting are absolute key. It cuts down on your frustration and it helps you to waste less fabric. So I have a tip on how to mark your ruler so that you will always be able to stay on task and have precise measurements. It involves your ruler and either painter's tape or Post-it notes if you don't have painter's tape handy. So let me show you how to read your ruler. If you're right-handed, you're going to cut on the right-hand side of your ruler. Likewise, if you're left-handed, you're going to be cutting on the left-hand side of your ruler. To be able to read the ruler is the biggest trick. The top row of numbers correspond to a right-handed cutter, and so they read 1 through 6 going from right to left, because if I'm cutting on the right-hand side, I'm going to be measuring on the left-hand side of the ruler. And if you're left-handed, the measurements are along the bottom row and go from left to right 1 through 6 inches. And so what I do is take a piece of painter's tape, and I want to mark it at 3.5 inches so that I can cut a 3.5 inch strip in preparation for cutting a series of 3.5 inch squares. So what I'm going to do is lay the tape just shy of the actual measurement that I want to line up to get an accurate cut, because you want to be able to see exactly where the marks are to line it up on a clean cut. Now, if you're using a wider ruler, which most of us do use, sometimes you can get confused as to turning your ruler around and, oh, should I be cutting and measuring from this side or cutting and measuring from this side? So what I do is I grab my Sharpie and I make an arrow to point to the side of the tape on the edge of the ruler where I'm supposed to be cutting. Now, I would do the very same thing with a Post-it note. These are super handy, and like I said, if you don't have painter's tape, you can use a Post-it note for exactly the same purpose. So I'm going to go ahead, line up the ruler at 3.5 and get a nice clean cut. Accurate measurements and cutting are key to the success in making my quilt 1 magic block, 10 fat quarters. To learn how to make it, check out my class on iQuilt.